Hello there and welcome back to Good Morning Sri Lanka on Thursday. We were on the topic of autism and Professor Aswini was updating all the parents out there and the parents to be about something very important. You can continue, Professor.
Yes, we were talking, Harit, about this child health development record, which is given free of charge to when any baby is born in this country. And every parent should have access to this. And as I was saying, there's so much information about their birth, their immunization records, and their growth. And sometimes we find that the rest of the information regarding their development. Now, this is what we are looking at even in autism. The early signs where we could pick up the fact that he or she may be, the child may be autistic. So if we can focus the parents' attention on filling up these records clearly, there are sections where they have to tick off and where the midwife has to, the family health worker has to tick off as well. This is, by the way, done by the Family Health Bureau of the Ministry of Health of Sri Lanka. And if we can get parents to focus on these charts, because there are charts for vision, their eyes, about their eyes, and also about their speech. So as we just discussed before, speech development is delayed in autism. So if we can get parents to focus on these things, in addition to when they go to the MOH clinics for their immunization, they do get a screen of their development. But if parents also can play a more proactive role, there are further pages about childhood development here, which sometimes we feel are not utilized.
I see.
If I can get them to focus on these, we can, I think, pick up these children earlier.
The purpose of early detection can actually be satisfied.
That's right. This is not only for autism, there are other childhood again, early intervention will help. But since we are talking about autism, some of these will help to pick up early features of autism.
Now, coming back to Professor Pereira, now we saw this book and what the parents should actually be doing. Now, you work at the Lady Ridge Hospital with a special area with regard to this. In your experience, how aware are parents and how much do they comply with these requirements?
Yes. We have over 250 children on our database, and we have analyzed how they came in and what complaints that the parents initially made about them. And if you compare that with, say, similar databases in the Western countries, parents have actually been concerned and sought consultation or sought help for their children with autism in 88% of cases before the age of 2. But in our parents, unfortunately, only 14.3%, according to our database, had come before the age of 2.
I see.
So that's a bit unfortunate that they... So again, as Aswini said, if people are aware about what is given in that child health development record, and they have actually read it, they'll be able to detect better. What parents come in mostly is with the complaint that their child is not talking. Sometimes the delay is delay in getting to us is because some of these children, and quite a number, quite a percentage, about around 40% of these children, have actually started talking and then lost that speech.
I see.
And that is attributed often not to autism, but to maybe an illness or maybe even a bad astrological period or something like that. So therefore there is a delay in getting to us. And things like not giving eye contact, not connecting and not sharing. Now normal children have this tendency to share everything with their adults. They'll sort of want to share whatever that interests them with their adult caregiver. These children don't do that, and that is not paid a lot of importance. And giving eye contact and things like that. If parents were aware, they'll be able to detect these children much, much earlier.
Now, also I understand we talked about how the curative element is very little, but the care element, the education, the social integration, etc. Can you just quickly elaborate on that as well?
Yeah. Now, if let's say as pediatricians, we pick up early signs of autism. I have to say that only out of the 300 odd birth cohort, only a certain percentage will be coming to a pediatrician in the first 6 months to 1 year. Not everyone will come to a pediatrician, but they do go to their immunization clinics, and there the screening is done. So they will be picked up at those points, maybe referred to a pediatrician, maybe referred directly to Professor Hemamali. And if we pick up these signs early, what we do is we may suspect the problem and refer to maybe Lady Ridgeway Hospital or wherever these centers are operative to assess these children.
Right.
Child psychiatric clinics where they will be assessed. And once the assessment is done, now the next need is early intervention therapy. Okay. After talking to the parents, explaining to them the problem, obviously, early intervention. And as I said, speech and language therapy, occupational therapy, behavioral therapy, these are the therapies that are needed. Now, we need much more of this in Sri Lanka.
Can a child go to a normal school, a mainstream school, if he is autistic?
Yes, he can. But this is what we call inclusive education. The main thing is, now as you know, Harit, in our schools we have maybe 40 children in a class, and if you send a child like this to one of those classes, he or she may get lost there. But the whole idea of inclusive education is that they get extra support.
Right.
Within the mainstream.
Within the mainstream, not isolated and somewhere else.
No.
Right.
So studies have shown that children who have that kind of education do better. But we need that help and support, so we need the Ministry of Education to come on board and accept this. And there is a lot of work being done at the moment with the Ministries of Health, Education, Women's Affairs, and so Child Development, Ministry of Child Development and Women's Affairs.
Before we conclude, Professor Asini, I want to come to Professor Pereira again. Regarding the approach that should be taken by persons who are with these patients, these children, the parents and those outside, how should they approach, how should they handle them? What is the method that you prescribe?
Yes, there are two aspects. One most important is is helping the child with the development, to overcome the deficits in development, like the social connectedness and the communication and things like that. Now, my experience with the program we have run at the Lady Ridgeway Hospital is that we don't have speech therapist and the occupational therapist in our program itself, but we've taken a very important alternative step, that is train the parents to work with the children and very intensely, and that actually works very well because the parents are at home with the child, and these children need about 25 hours a week or more, very intensive therapy in the sense actually directly working with them, doing various activities to get them to give eye contact, get them to connect and interact with them, get them to communicate. So the parents are well placed to do that.
I see.
Much more than people who come from outside, and we have a major shortage of speech therapists and occupational therapists that is going to take years to fulfill.
Yes.
And the parents have actually contributed or been substitute therapists, and my experience is they've done very well.
Right. We don't have much time, Professor Aswini, but I think early detection is the key. There is definitely hope things can be done, and there's so much to be done by the parties involved and the ministries, etc. As a child pediatrician in special, what would your final advice be to those parents out there and to those who might have these issues?
Yes. Keep an eye on your child's development, the neurological development. You have a guide, as I have just pointed out. And if you notice any early features of any of those developmental milestones, please seek help. Go to the local MOH clinic, and he or she will be referred on to a pediatrician for further assessment.
Okay. Thank you very much, Professor. It's indeed been enlightening to us, and a great message to everyone out there that there's a thing that can be done, there's a process that it's developing, and please be aware of your child, and please be aware of those around in your surroundings as well if you can. And we'll wrap for a short commercial break and be back with some very interesting stories about the stock market, about certain interesting fact as well, which I'll reveal at the beginning. Take a break.